In this video, I'm going to be customizing some of the different Series 27 minifigures because although they're not all as cool as the Wolfpack Beastmaster, I want to show that you can still do some cool things with their parts. I've mainly made castle figs as that's what this channel is primarily about, but I've also made some that work for pirates or space. I have 20 different minifigures to show off, so let's get right into it. Starting off, I've used the Steampunk Inventors parts to make a couple of different figures. This first one is an elf artificer using the backprint of his torso and legs along with the Githyanki Warlock's hair from the D&D CMF. I absolutely love these parts for an artificer, as for a lot of people, artificers in D&D are thought of as a steampunk style tinker or inventor, and these parts just match perfectly. I've given him a vial of poison and a bow to shoot poisonous arrows, and I think it works well to keep him in the medieval aesthetic. For the next minifigure, I've made this sort of piratey fighter using the back of the steampunk inventor's torso and the hair from the pirate quartermaster. I can understand why the steampunk inventor's legs might feel too futuristic for castle, so I think the goat herder's legs are a great match. I've given her this gold cutlass to match the sort of fancy vibe of the torso, and I really like how it looks. I've finished her off with Harumi's head from Ninjago to give a unique look, and I really love this figure overall. Moving on, I've made a ranger using some parts from the two best figures in the series. This guy uses the hood and cape from the Beastmaster and the legs from the Quartermaster, along with the red bow from Cupid. For the torso, I've combined the one from the Series 25 Vampire Knight, along with Tasha's arms from the D&D CMF, and I absolutely love the parts mashup of this figure. He's also really easy to recreate, as essentially all of his parts are from CMFs that have been out in the last year. Continuing on with the use of the Pirate Quartermaster legs, I've made this decked out Red Falcon Commander using the pirate's head and legs, along with the Heroic Knight breastplate combined with the Dragon Paladin arms. I really love the detailing and pattern on the legs that give them a unique look. The only real problem is that the bag on them doesn't always match up well with the figure you're making. Either way though, these legs just look amazing, and I think it's worth getting copies of the figure solely for them. Next up, we have a couple of figures that have been fig barfed from the Pterodactyl Costume Girl, the Boogeyman, and the Series 25 Harpy. For the first figure, I've made this flying creature of sorts with the head and torso from the Boogeyman, the wings from the Pterodactyl costume, and the legs from the Harpy. I know it's pretty goofy with how comical the head looks, but the colors match up pretty well, and it looks better than I initially thought it would. For the other figure, I've made this witch using mainly parts from the Harpy, but I've used the legs from the Boogeyman as the fur printing matches up really well. I gave her the energy pieces from Agatha Harkness to give her some magic powers, and I'm honestly pretty happy with how she turned out. I found the parts from these figures a bit difficult to use well, and I'm really curious if anyone watching has done anything else cool with them. If you have any ideas or suggestions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. Moving on, I've created a couple of piratey looking figures that I honestly feel could work for either castle or pirates. These are both a mashup of parts from the Quartermaster and the D&D Elf Bard, and I feel like the figures work so well together. For the first one, I've made a bard using the lute and torso from the Elf Bard along with the arms, cloth, and legs from the Quartermaster. I've given her this eye patch face print from an old pirate set, and I think she looks absolutely awesome, although I'm not sure if she looks a bit too piratey for a medieval figure. I really love the gold printing on the shirt and pants together, and then I finished her off with a silver knife that works really well with the fig. For the other one, I've made a thief using the Quartermaster torso with the Elf Bard legs, and then I've used this awesome looking face print from the Pterodactyl Costume Girl that works great for some sort of mischievous figure. I've swapped the arms out for the ones from the Series 25 Fierce Barbarian to give them a bear look, but still have some interesting printing. I've given her the knife from the Githyanki Warlock for robbing people, and I think all these parts go together super well. Overall, these two are some of my favorite figures that I've made here, and I really think the Quartermaster has some amazing parts that are outshined by the Wolfpack Beastmaster. I would go out and pick up a couple if you haven't already. Moving on, I've created a couple more Wolfpack members using some various parts from the Beastmaster. For the first one, I've made an Orc Barbarian using the Beastmaster legs and cape along with the back of the Fierce Barbarian torso. I decided to give him plain brown arms to give a lighter armored feel, and I feel like it works better for a barbarian of sorts. For the head, I've used the one from the Series 13 Goblin along with Moria Orc hair, and I think the combo works great. I love adding other fantasy races to the Wolfpack. I've of course used the Beastmaster shield, and then alongside I've made this weapon that's sort of a scythe and an axe, and I think it looks great. For the other figure, I've made an axeman using the Beastmaster arms and legs with the back of a 2013 Red Dragon torso. I've given him a pearl dark gray kettle helm and axe along with the Beastmaster shield, and he gives off a super gritty and mean look. The color scheme of this torso matches up perfectly with the Beastmaster parts, and I couldn't be happier with how the combo turned out. I would definitely recommend trying this out if you have an extra Dragon Knight torso. I do have plans for making a full Wolfpack army video in the future, but I gotta wait till Pick a Brick Standard comes back online so that I can order some medieval town square Wolfpack torsos to add more diversity. Moving on, I've created an angel using the torso from Cupid combined with the wings from the D&D era Cockra Ranger. I know this is a bit similar to a figure in another video that that I made, but I couldn't come up with a better use for the torso. I've used this Princess Leia dress, which I think matches up really well, and then I've given her this elf blade from Lord of the Rings with a little tassel from the Dragon Paladin, and I think it's a great touch to complete the figure. If you guys have any other ideas on how to use the Cupid torso, let me know in the comments. Next up, we have a warrior of sorts that uses the Wolfpack Beastmaster's arms and legs combined with a Viking torso from the Viking village. I really love the sort of wild vibe this figure gives off with the long hair as well as his spear and bow, and he seems like a hunter or some sort of forest person. Overall, he looks pretty cool, and I'm really happy with how the parts combo turned out. Next up, I've used an interesting technique with the arm from the astronomer kid to make a sort of evil and possessed mercenary. I completely stole this idea from in the Lego Castle Discord, so shout out to him. I do love this technique, and it's honestly a great way to make use of the astronomer kit if you happen to get one. The head is from the Series 7 Evil Knight for the glowing red eyes, and then the helmet is obviously from the Series 25 Basil the Batlord, and I'm really happy with this idea, although I would love to see what other people come up with using this prosthetic arm idea. Moving on, I've created a couple more figures using the beautiful legs from the Pirate Quartermaster. For this first one, I've made a simple assassin using the torso from Tasha the Witch Queen, as it has dark red printing that went great with the legs. I've given her a dark red cape and hood to go with the aesthetic, and then I finished her off with this awesome Prince of Persia knife that matches in with the gold and silver colors. She's a bit of a simple figure, but she honestly looks pretty cool and uses some easy to find parts. For the other figure, I've made a fancy historian with this prince torso from Kingdoms combined with the quartermaster legs. I gave him the book from the Boogeyman as a simple accessory, and although it's a bit comical, it works fairly well for the fig. He's another super simple figure, but I just absolutely love how well the gold patterns mix on the torso and legs, so I wanted to include him. Next up, I want to show a couple last figures using the Beastmaster's parts, because as I was messing around with combinations, I just kept finding more and more torsos that go perfectly with the arms and legs. For the first one, I made a Viking chieftain that uses the backprint of the D&D CMF Dwarf Barbarian with the fur cape from the Beastmaster. I absolutely love the horn on the torso, and with the realistic Viking helmet and beard, it just gives him a super awesome look that I think works perfectly for a Viking leader. For the other figure, I took the torso from the evil dwarf and upgraded it with the Beastmaster arms, legs, and even his head. This is yet again another example of how well the parts work with other torsos, and I feel like a broken record by saying this, but the customization of the Beastmaster is easily one of the best out of any recent CMF figure. My one complaint was that his head looked a bit goofy, but this mustache covers it up while still showing the scar and a good bit of the beard. Now for the final figures, I've made a bonus little space squad using the Jetpack Racers parts, and although I'm mainly focused on Lego Castle, I still like to dip into other themes once in a while. These figures all use the Jetpack Racer torso and legs as the base, but I've switched around their accessories to make each of them unique. For the first one, we have an alien who dual wields shotguns. I've kept the jetpack but modified it a bit to make it smaller, and I think it looks a lot better. For the next one, we have this girl who dual wields pistols and has a black helmet with an air tank on her back to breathe. I used Coco's head from Ninjago to match the design of the Jetpack Racer head, but with a black outline instead of white. For the final figure, I've taken the Jetpack Racer and just replaced the jetpack for an air tank, as well as given him the simple brick-built rifle. If you guys have any interest in seeing the occasional space or pirates video, or even another theme, let me know in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed the video, comment which figure was your favorite, and let me know any ideas or figures you've built using the new Series 27 minifigure parts. Also, if you enjoy Lego Castle content, subscribe because I make a new video every Saturday, and if you want to earn a free $30, you can sign up for Rakuten using my affiliate link in the description. I had an absolute blast making these figures, and I already have some more ideas for another video, so if you guys have any interest in that, let me know down below. As always, thank you for watching.